Hi, girlies. Welcome to Book Please podcast. It's Alina here.
Hey guys, it's Amanda.
How was your weekend, Queen?
Good. I had a nice 4-day weekend. Took Friday and Monday off of work. I had family visiting. I would say the highlight, which is not really a highlight to me because my family wanted to go to Disney, 3 hours away from where we live. So I was like, okay, sure. So we only did Epcot. I was like, I'm not doing all everything. No, no. So we did the adult side where they have like around the world where you can like drink,
Yeah,
and experience food from like well, not every, a few countries. Um, the drinking was like the highlight of it for me,
yeah.
but everything else, I don't know. I feel like I can wait to have kids to go back to Disney, honestly.
Yeah, that's like a thing. You're either like an adult who does Disney or you're not, I feel
Yeah.
like.
I have people that love it. I mean, I know people that love it. And there's like couples that like honeymoon there. And I'm just like, how? What?
See, that is where I would draw the line. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I want to honeymoon here. Absolutely not honeymoon.
Yeah.
But I don't even think if I wasn't in state that I would be like, I want a vacation there and like plan it out unless I had kids. Like, and
Hmm.
I know people love to do that. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, more power to you. And I love Disney movies, but like, I'm not going to go there on my own accord out of my way to like take a flight to go there.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
wouldn't mind like, oh, we take a drive and like it's a cute thing to do with like a group of friends or like
Yes, that's
couples,
the only
like
thing that makes it worth it. Like who
yeah,
you're
and you
with.
like
Hmm.
drink and you do stuff like and you
Hmm.
have a little day trip, that's fine. I'm not going to go out of my way to like be this person that does it. I think unless I have kids also.
And then I do want to share just because I just like bought tickets. I was like, cool, got a day pass. And then my cousin was like, okay, I signed us up for like the queue to get like online for like the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is like their newest ride. And I'm like, what do
Yeah.
you mean? If I like bought tickets and went that day, I would not be able to just like walk up. And so, no, you have to like download the app, sign up for the queue. And we tried the 7 a.m. one, but we didn't make it. And then we tried the 1 o'clock one, and that one we made. So then they send you a
Are you
notification when
kidding?
it's your turn to go. So we did not get accepted into the queue until 8 o'clock, like an hour before the park closes, but so worth it. Like
What?
so worth it. Yeah, isn't it? It was so good though. It was I would say the ride was like my favorite. And then of course there were some like I liked which areas Mexico was always, I like that can't go wrong with margaritas. I enjoyed that.
Mm.
And then I want to say, was it France? France had a really good drink too that I enjoyed. I'm trying to think food wise. I had an empanada that was good.
I can't, I'm a little like tainted today because I just wrote a story for work about Disney Springs.
Did you?
And yes, and it was a horrible story. So when you're saying the food there, I'm like traumatized. This man is like suing the park. Cash, by the way, Cash is driving me nuts today. He's very needy. So if you hear him, I'm so sorry.
We
Like
don't hear
weird
him.
rumblings. This is all Cash. This is what he's doing. And he's like coming at mommy always needs to put I've never had a dog. Like
Hi,
dogs aren't really
baby.
supposed to like I feel like my dogs that I had growing up have never been dogs that are like want to play or want a toy. Like my dog Bambi, love you, rest in
Mm.
peace, my angel girl. She was like, I'm a diva. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not a dog.
I'm a person.
And it's like Cash actually like wants to literally play, do the dog parks, like play with toys all the time. And I'm like,
Mm.
I've never had a dog like this. And he just brings toys to me constantly. And he doesn't
Just a little
understand.
baby.
Mommy's recording. He's
Mm.
gonna be 2 in May, my little angel. I love you, but mommy's busy working. And let's respect
Mm.
auntie. But like I was saying, so with Disney, this man is suing the park and a restaurant at the park because he went there on a family trip with his wife who has severe allergies. And they're sitting there and they're like talking to the waiter and they're like, listen, she has severe nut and dairy allergies. We need allergen free food. And they have like this commitment to like safeguard their customers, you know, to protect against allergies. It's like part of
Mhm.
their policy, something they preach. So they felt really safe going to this restaurant and like how Disney is so protective over allergies with especially with all these kids and families, you have to think. So they went there like with this in mind, check with the waiter, check with the chef, like went over it.
Of course, yeah.
Hours later, she drops dead at Disney Springs in the
What?
park. And the medical examiner, through the autopsy, found that she had high levels of nut and dairy in her system.
Reason a
And
million, I
she
won't go back.
even administered an EpiPen to herself. Like it was a whole thing. Like, and she didn't make it. They rushed her to the hospital. Like absolutely devastating. So now they're being sued, rightfully so. I
Mhm.
hope this man gets every penny, and it
Oh,
doesn't replace anything.
yeah. That's so
I cannot imagine how traumatizing that is to like have to live that way in fear every time
I
you
would
need
think
to
about
eat.
like even Disney's tainted in my mind now.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm sorry.
Yours
But
is tainted
yeah, I
anyways,
mean, literally, I mean, that food, I mean, is it really that good anyways? Go,
Yeah, it's not
you
that
know,
good.
they have stuff in the area in Orlando. Go to the restaurants around it.
Mhm.
Don't like,
I don't
I
think the
mean,
food's worth it. It's so expensive. Even the drinks, I was just like, man, for $20 a drink, I better be feeling something.
yeah, no, I hear you. I feel like that stuff's probably so regulated too. Like, those places, when you go to a bar and they like measure like your alcohol with like a shot
Yeah,
glass and you're like, are we for real right now?
better give me a floater.
Yeah, I feel like that's Disney for sure. So I get it. And then I saw you too this past weekend, which was fun for a little bit. We had a bit of a pool day. I met your cousin.
Good.
And
Oh.
can I just say shout out to you because is it too late to get like to redo my New Year's resolution because I just need to like get my life together as a whole. Like
No, it's never too late.
how
Start
many
today.
times how many times are you like, hey, like make sure when you come to my complex, like pay the
Oh,
meter, pay the meter, pay the meter, down to the like you texted me like 3 times the code, or not to pay the meter, just to sign up my car. It
mhm,
was free.
mhm.
And I still got a ticket because the minute I get out of my car, I forget.
Oh, it's not
I'm
your
like,
fault though. They don't have service. So it makes you wait till you
I
get
had to
service
wait.
and then you forget. So it's not completely your fault.
I want to
My
like
building
plead
too.
my case and be like, listen, I did it, but your service, like, it didn't submit
They didn't
it.
submit it.
Like,
Listen, I'm
that shit
down.
was
Have
$55.
someone go into that parking lot and try and submit. I bet you it won't go through.
Oh my God. Like,
Oh, you
literally,
poor
I.
thing.
I feel like I need to do that, but we'll see what happens. The other thing that you're getting on my case about is getting the nail in my tire fixed. I'm gonna hold
Please.
myself accountable right now and say it on this podcast. By next week's recording, I will fix the nail because the amount of times I have to put air in my tire every time I'm
It's
going
not
somewhere.
worth it. Nope.
No.
I have anxiety. The last thing I want to do, anything like leaving. Oh, okay. So leaving doors unlocked. I don't know how people do this, but it's one of my
This
biggest
is you.
pet peeves. I am not ending up on investigation ID because someone forgot to lock the door. Like I'm just like I don't care if we lived in the safest area ever. I'm not going
Yeah.
to be like, oh, someone hasn't died in this area and whatever, whatever. But then we become a victim because we didn't lock the door. So locking doors, nailing tire. Like I'm not going to be driving my car and then I make it completely flat. Then I got to call triple. Like it's just no.
You're literally like, "I'm gonna pick you up, you can't drive with that nail in your tire." Like, this is
Exactly.
how
You're
you've
like,
been
no,
treating me.
I'll just put air. And I'm like,
I yeah, and I have a tire full of air. For now, it's good, but yes, I need to just, like, go and
yes.
handle it, and I
If you,
will, and now
yeah,
I'm holding myself accountable because everyone's listening.
yes. And if you walk out, what if you walk outside and it's just like flat? Then you're like, damn, damn.
I know, it's bad. My complex, even when I had gone away for a while, I didn't know I had the nail at
Mhm.
first. When I first got it, I had gone away, like, back to Jersey to see my family, and I came back, and my complex left a note and was like, "You can't have a flat tire, you'll get towed."
You
And I'm
should have
like, "You're
fixed
gonna
it.
tow me from my" exactly. "You're gonna tow me from my own apartment building where I park, like, where I pay to live because I have a flat?" Like, what if like, that's where people leave their car when it needs work or help, like, what am
Yeah.
I anyways,
Oh, what
ridiculousness.
about you? What'd you do this weekend?
Honestly, I did a lot of watching The Bachelor, which is, like, catching up on shows, reading, organizing, and I just, like, was playing it while I was doing everything. Ran to
Mhm.
Marshall's, got a new comforter, and I was like, "Where is Amanda? I need to talk to her about The
And
Bachelor."
of course, I'm not watching it.
At all. Like, I need you to get up on it because there is this crazy chick on here. Her name is Sydney,
AKA Kim.
and she is like, if you don't even have to watch to understand this. Sydney has now planted like something out of nothing and like gone after this girl, Maria. And basically, what happened was one of Sydney's friends was like confiding in the group, being like, I'm just like a little nervous because I'm the oldest one here.
Mhm.
And this other girl, Maria, who's a queen, was like, "Oh, girl, I'm old too. Like, don't even stress about it. Whatever. They're close in age." Just trying to make her feel good about it.
Yeah.
This is not even the girl. Sydney's completely unrelated. And she was like, "You're invalidating my friend. You're talking shit." Like saying all this stuff because the girl Maria was like, "Oh, I'm old too. Like, don't even sweat it."
Yeah.
She was just trying to be like, it's okay.
Supportive.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, we're all different ages. It doesn't matter. I'm
Mhm.
here and I'm fine with it. Like, whatever. And even if it was like not the best thing to say, like, there's nothing that she said that's, I mean, do
Mhm.
you see anything wrong with that?
No, but I also think like you're on a freaking dating show. Like, who starts drama over age?
It was, and there was no drama. Like,
Yeah.
not even the girl who said, "I feel old," said anything. Her
Yeah.
friend was like, "I heard her talking shit.
Uh,
She said she's old too." And she started this whole thing within the house, like a petition, like she's a shit stirrer. She talks like she says all these horrible things. And Maria's sitting there like mind blown. And I'm sitting there, I think all of America's sitting there watching her build a story around this girl, Maria. And so we're like, what's happening? So we all are watching this, and Maria literally says to the girl, like, "Hey," first of all, she goes up to the girl who made the initial age comment and was like,
mhm.
"Did anything bother you? Let's talk it through." And they were
Mhm.
good. So she goes to Sydney and she's like, "I don't understand why you're spreading these things. It didn't even have to do with you. And like, what's the issue?"
Exactly.
And she literally asked her, like, "Can you just tell me what bothered you? What did it?" She's like, "You're a bully, you're this, you're that, you're toxic to the house." And she's like, "Okay, do you mind giving me an example? Like, what did I say so we can talk about it? Like,
Yeah.
I like being direct and like hashing this out, and any miscommunications, like I would like to work through them so that we have
Mhm.
a nice environment in the house." "Why are you attacking me? You're verbally assaulting me. I will not take this. I'm leaving. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm leaving." She walks away and like goes into like another room and excused herself.
Mhm.
Nobody went with her. Like, I was like, this is so, she's creating a problem out of nothing.
Yeah.
Goes to the Bachelor and was like,
Of course, got involved.
"This girl is a bully in the house." But usually it stems from something. This girl made no sense.
Yeah, it was
So she's
concerning.
essentially a Karen.
Mm.
Extreme Karen. You should see her Instagram now. She just posted this video where she's just playing audio clips that people are sending her, and they're like, you're a bitch. Like, you're a horrible person. Like, you
Mm.
blah blah blah." And she's sitting there crying, like posting reels and TikToks like, "This is what my life has been for the past, like, however, whatever." And she's just like, it's bad. I mean, I don't condone people going after her,
Yeah.
but it's just the way that she's also like handling it and like doing this whole show about like a cry fest. I'm not here for it. I'm already so annoyed with her on the show that I'm like rolling my eyes at it. Like, she
I'm
just
trying to
feels like
look her
a
up.
Karen. What'd you say?
I'm looking her up.
Yeah, look her up. Sydney Gord or something like that, I think, on Instagram. And the funny thing is, the last time I checked, she had around 10,000 followers from the show.
Mhm.
And the girl Maria that she's gone against has close to 380,000 from the show.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the difference?
Mm.
Like, that just shows like a clear, but I'm actually scared that like this is going to now trickle down, and like eventually the Bachelor like already started kind of looking at her differently. Like, she's like, why is your name associated with so much drama, like this, that?
Yeah.
And Maria's like a strong contender, so I feel like this girl now is like really
Tainted.
sabotaging her
Yeah.
shit. Even if he doesn't like Sydney, it's a sour taste. Like, you feel like where there's smoke there's fire.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I can't wait to watch. I'm watching tonight. When you catch up.
need to watch.
I
And
love
but
drama.
there, a show you do watch, Love is Blind, there's a huge difference, I feel like, in the way that you can like take this and use it as your power
Mhm.
and make light of the situation, or do what Sydney's doing, which is obviously, whether or not like we agree or whatever, it's not translating well. Like,
Yes.
people aren't coming and supporting her or anything. It's not helping her following. Then you
Mhm.
have Chelsea on Love is Blind
Mhm.
that we're watching, who like got roasted for saying before the man that she like ended up with even saw her face, for saying that she looked like Megan Fox when like she's very different. Maybe there are features, okay.
Mhm.
And she got roasted, roasted, roasted for this comment. But I feel like she has handled it
She's tough.
like in
Mhm.
such a great way. Like she makes these funny little reels and stuff where she's like, "Oh, well, that's awkward." Like when that scene comes up, and she makes
Mhm.
jokes,
Mhm.
or she's saying like, "Can anyone who's ever told me this please come forward?" Like I think it's funny.
Yeah. Or even the comments of people saying like she looks more like Adele. She doesn't I feel like she just doesn't care, which I read comments, she doesn't like feed
Yeah.
into it. So good for her. I mean, you still don't look like Megan Fox lady, but
But it makes me like her. I didn't like her. I didn't like her. And now the way she's handled this, and like she makes jokes about therapy and all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? You're like, good for you.
I still
Like,
don't
and,
like
and
her.
I'm sure that was a vulnerable moment for you on the show. And it was 1 second in time and it's become this huge thing. I love the way that she's handled it, like compared to Sydney on The
You're
Bachelor.
so nice. I still think
Well,
she lied.
100% she lied.
She wanted to get
She knew
picked
what she
so
was
bad.
doing.
Yeah, she played
She
the
and
game
I
well.
We all knew that she was vibing better with Trevor.
Yeah.
And I think that I think what made Jimmy so exciting was like she was in competition with the pretty girl in the house and she had to
Yeah.
throw a little
Mhm.
wrench in it, and she weaponized like using the fact that she has gotten told that she looks like Megan Fox like to her
Mhm.
advantage, and they
Mhm.
weren't a match.
My thing too is like watching the episodes, how insecure she is. I feel like it's very like no offense, but once I saw Jimmy, I was like, oh. And then I was like,
Mhm.
he's no better. Like he doesn't deserve I feel like
Yeah.
Chelsea's very nice, she's Chelsea, that's not even her name, is it? Is it
Yeah.
Chelsea? Oh, I don't know why I want to call her Kelsey. But but I feel like, like he's not like a Tom Brady where like I feel like his demeanor acts like that. So when she like wants all this validation, I mean, I don't think she's asking for a lot, and that man could at least do that. But
Yeah.
that's just
I
me.
I find it hard to when it's I know that she's insecure and I know it's getting annoying, and
Hmm.
that's like the consensus across the board online.
Hmm.
But I do feel like he's gaslighting her because
Yeah.
you can tell that this man is not into her, and I almost feel like he's just forcing it so he doesn't look like that guy who like
Hmm.
ended it over looks, so he's like continuing through.
Hmm.
But he's telling her like, "Yes,
Jealous.
I love you. Yes, I think you're beautiful." But you can see
He doesn't
that,
mean it. Yeah.
yeah, like he's
Mhm.
telling you one thing, but he's showing you another with the way that he
Exactly.
acts and the things that he
Mhm.
wants, and all of that. So,
Mhm. And the way he comments on other women's bodies, and it's like
yeah,
so superficial. And I'm just like, ugh, pig.
exactly. So
Mhm.
that it's not like, okay, yes, she's insecure, but he's completely gaslighting her and making her think it's all in
Mhm.
her head when it's very clear. You know when you can feel when something's off, and she knows that something's off, and
Yep.
she's talking to him honestly to get to the bottom of it, and he's giving her nothing.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
it's
When he
like,
called
"Oh,
her
she's
clingy,
crazy."
woo!
What happened?
When he called her clingy, he was like, "You're being a little clingy," and she like,
He said that he came at her for like she was the one that initiated sex again and stuff. I was like,
Mm,
"Sir, like no, no, no. Then you're
yeah.
on television."
Yeah. I mean, she's hands. I
Oof.
feel like I don't know how it ends. Obviously, we're waiting, but I feel like she must have like been through stuff where I feel like now she's like recovering and tough now that everything's coming out. But I thought it was going to be bad for her. I thought like the comments but she good for her. I'm proud.
She handled it so
Hmm.
well, and not a lot of people can, and I don't even
Yep.
blame people if they
Hmm.
can't, because she's really getting ripped. And a lot of stuff, like as much as you don't want to admit, like when someone comes for your physical appearance, especially all of these people, I would just like across the globe,
Hmm.
I don't know if I could be as strong as she is.
But I
So,
feel like no one's saying she's ugly. No one's. We're just saying she doesn't like. Even saying she looks like Adele. Adele's gorgeous. She's
yes,
so
no, I
pretty.
agree. They're
Yeah.
not really saying she's ugly, but there's an undertone.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And
like
almost
you're not
comparing her
on
to
that spectrum.
Jessica. Yeah,
Mhm.
like, girl, you ain't there. Like, that's how it is.
Yeah, yeah, no,
I would
and
be mortified.
I bet you she ends up with someone. I bet you, like, the reason she's I bet you when they have the reunion, she's gonna be with someone and she's gonna be
Oh,
good in a good headspace.
I
And I don't
hope
think it's gonna be
so.
Jimmy. It's not gonna be
And I
him.
hope Jessica too.
Oh, I hope so too. She'll be
Queen
fine. I'm
Jess
not
and
worried
not
about
Jimmy.
Jess. Yeah, I'm not worried about Jess. She'll be fine.
Yeah. Well,
Let's talk about a dreamy man now. Zay Zay.
I no, I cannot believe we finished Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. We read chapters 58 to 66 this week,
Mhm.
and I would say we have all our answers, but really, Rebecca left us on a cliffhanger.
As always, I'm expecting the next one. I'm gonna guess the next title.
Another book,
Let's see,
another
Iron
day.
Flame. It's gonna be no, I'm not good with titles. But I'm excited to hear your rating on this book because I'm super curious.
Mhm.
Because I feel like the ending is kind of when I liked it most, So I'm just
Yeah,
anyways, let's dive deep.
I feel like we may have similar ratings, but we'll see. I love it that we didn't discuss because,
I
like, it
want you to
makes it.
rate first though.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Okay, fine. All right. So, where we start off in this book, Violet is realizing that, so basically, they're going and putting resources into the Samara outpost. And Violet has this realization that what's really happening is this is all a distraction. And she's like, I feel like the attack is going to be on Best and I need to get there. And she's really following a hunch at this point.
Hmm.
And she goes to her mother. She goes to Best she goes to her mother, and she's like, we are in danger here. We need to protect the wards. And her mother is not having it and not believing her at that time. She's like, we're okay here. Like, our wards are up and we're safe. So Violet goes down to the ward stone to see for herself. And who do we see?
Someone that should have been dead in the first book.
Someone should have been dead and gone.
Jack Barlow, he haunts
Yes.
us.
He will stay coming back,
Yes.
and we get some answers as to why.
Hmm.
So basically, Jack Barlow is down there, and she's too late. He drops the words, sacrifices Bade, his dragon, who has been loyal to him. I
The
was so
nerve, I
mad.
know, I know. Such a
Drops the words, and then we find out that Jack Barlow has been Venin since year one, has also planted lures around Basgiath to get Venin to come to the location where they
okay,
are.
here's my question. So I think it's cool that we had someone undercover there, like I think that play was awesome. But how doesn't the dragon know? Like how doesn't anyone know that he's Venom? Like even Nolan, like trying to like how do you not know? Don't they have
Well,
like
I
I
think
just
Nolan, we find out that Nolan this whole time has been so exhausted because he's been trying to mend him. So
Mhm.
it was my understanding that Nolan was trying to help correct it. So
cure
doesn't
him
he?
from being Venom?
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I thought from the fall and he was just so strong that Nolan
Yeah.
curing him was draining him. Hmm.
My take was that he's trying to correct it.
That's so interesting because I wouldn't want a Venom that's going to be in my.
I know. And I think it's
Mm.
like, obviously, maybe he was not, and we couldn't understand for so long. Why was he so evil with no, you even asked, you were like, was he part of the like original, like the rebellion? Like what
Yeah,
was
it makes
going
no
on?
sense. Yeah.
Well, here's our answer.
Hmm.
So, I
Doesn't
mean, that
surprise
was
me.
just insane. Yeah, that was a huge plot twist.
Hmm.
And so then at this time, now they're preparing to like fight. They know what's coming. Jasenia is scrambling to translate these novels from the first six. So she has Lyra's journal. And eventually, what we come to learn is she keeps looking at this word and she's like, well, there's something different here. Like in the other journal, it said six dragons, but this one says seven. And Violet's like, that can't be right. That can't be right. And then we come to learn it is right. And what does Violet realize?
Mm, mm, mm. Poor Adarna. She's part of the crew, part of the seven.
Yeah, so she's the seventh type of
I
dragon.
knew she was going to be some like important somehow. like way above it.
Yes, she's the head of her own den. She is a totally different breed. And that's literally what I said and what we were saying. Like, I was like, she's not black. Like, I knew she was something else. And she can kind of like camouflage. And there was this moment too, when Violet first realized, like, in the moment when everything was happening, she like kept it to herself. And then when she went to Andarna about it, she like, they had this such a special moment. And Andarna was like, I, you know, I've always been different and I've been trying to show you and tell you. And I was just like waiting for you to come to the realization. And she's like, we're very similar. And she said to her something interesting. She was like, and Darna was like, I knew like somebody like you with the mind of of a scribe and like the heart of a rider would be perfect for me. And we're both different. And we were both like almost like the weakling in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was so interesting because even Violet thinks to herself, like, how did you know I was going to be a writer when I was supposed to be a scribe?
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely more there too.
Oh yeah, I think Adarna is gonna be like super powerful. Like you know how like Taryn's so big. I think she's gonna trump all of them. I think she in the next book is gonna be like spectacular.
I'm so happy she didn't die.
I know. I knew someone was gonna die, but she
I
still got
know.
two dragons. I guess is not one of them.
I know. I was so happy with that. So what happens after that, basically, I mean, we can get into who does die. Violet went to power the word stone because now they're like frantic and they realize, okay, we needed 7 dragons. And she's conflicted because she's like, I can't wait for all these riders to get here. Like, I need to start. And she's putting
Yep.
all of her power into this stone
Hmm.
and it's completely depleting her. And so her mother like forces Sloane to use her signet and drain her, like the mom, Cadet Sorengale, of her powers to pump it into the stone. Essentially, like her final act is sacrificing her life for her daughter and her children, and so that the stone would have enough
Hmm.
power to so that they could imbue it. Like I just was that was crazy.
I caught this. I knew the mom would. Her dying would be her doing something heroic for her kids.
I said this too last episode, if you were listening.
Yeah. And we knew.
And
Hmm.
yeah, we knew. And also, so like in this moment, it's like everyone's kind of celebrating because it's like, oh my gosh, we powered the wards, and they're fighting this battle against all these venons. So like it's super, super helpful because above
Hmm.
ground, everyone's going crazy.
Hmm.
And then we have this moment of like juxtaposition where Violet's sitting there and has lost her mom and
Yeah.
she's so upset.
All of the kids.
Even Brennan,
Hmm. We're super sad.
could you imagine how he must feel that he like
Was mean to
brushed her
her.
off so much
Hmm.
after all these years and she thought he was dead and like she lit up when she saw him and he gave her nothing.
Yeah, I think she did a lot of tough love, but it was out of someone that like a mother that loves their kids and she'll do what she can to protect them. And even if that means they hate her, she's doing, so I get it. I like the mom. I think she died a hero, of course.
Yeah, she definitely did now. I definitely I was emotional when that happened.
Hmm.
And then during this time, also Violet is feeling Zayden dying. And she's like, oh my God, he's dying. Like something's wrong. Like she has to go find it. But she's also like severely grief stricken at the same time.
I also wanted to talk about Sawyer. I found that part super
Yes.
emotional because I was like, oh my God, please don't let us lose someone again. And then I
Hmm.
felt like them kind of saving him was making up for like poor Liam dying. So that was a
Yes.
super, sentimental moment too.
I also want to say, I just loved how, in general, Liam, separate from just this section, was such a thread, almost
Hmm.
like a guardian angel to Violet in
Even
this
after.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, and when she was in like the hardest moments, she would feel him talking to her, like telling her, directing her, like that is some otherworldly shit. Like I loved that,
Don't make me
and
cry.
it was no, I mean really, like I know. Oh my gosh,
I'm such a boomer.
Rebecca. And even how Sloane was the one to like use her signet,
I knew she was going to be important too.
she it was just like this full circle thing. And I feel like in that moment too, it like bonds her to Violet in a way like, okay, now it's kind of like she can't say anything again. Like, look at what Violet gave up, and like at her hand too. Like, not really, but she helped facilitate her own mother's death. So I think at this point, like, there is not going to be any more animosity. Like, sometimes this shit happens for the
Hmm.
greater good. And what better way to show her that than like this example of her mom dying?
Exactly. Putting other people before her own. And same
Yeah.
thing with Leah. If anything, it would have showed me like, okay, if she could have saved my brother, she would have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that was.
And
Oh,
the
okay.
last piece of this, I know that's really cute that I love that you're getting like touched by this because it really was like there were so many emotions and we do get attached to these characters, especially Liam. Like he's one that we can't ever like forget.
I just want to disclose I'm a crybaby. Like I
Yes,
could watch Lion
we know both
King.
are.
Like I know I it could be fake. It could literally be like not like what would you do at cry? But like yesterday, car guy Danny was like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "It's so." He's like, "It's not even real." I'm like, "But it's so cute."
Because you were watching What Would You Do?
Yeah, what would you do for like people that were like doing the right thing? I was like, "Oh my god, America's like
Yeah.
that awful."
Oh my gosh, that is so funny and cute. And we're gonna keep doing this thing where you nickname the guy, but you name him, so there's no point in the
Yeah, there's no
nickname.
point in that. Yeah, I just don't know what people know him as, so I got to say both.
So funny. We tried. We
We
really
tried.
did. So the real like piece that was missing throughout this whole thing is like, is Zayden okay and what happened?
Yes.
So then Violet goes out, of course, in mourning, like having a whole conversation with Zayden, but like not really looking at him. He's like looking over a ledge. He even was saying like, he was sorry about her mother's death. And she was like, I thought you didn't care if she died. And he's like, well, I care because it's you and I don't want
Yeah.
you, like anyone who you love, I don't want them to die.
Hmm.
So they're having this whole full conversation. And like the last we hear from Violet's perspective is like he looks up and he has red rimmed eyes, signifying that he's Venom or
Yes.
turning Venom.
Hmm.
And that was like a huge mic drop moment. Like, what
I
happened?
was like, no, but Rebecca, you better have a cure for this man because
I know. So at the end, that happens, and then we shoot to Zayden's perspective, and it's like he's having this dream, and like we kind of see what happened through everything, where like the Sage General was basically Zayden was losing and he was gonna die. And he had a choice. Do
hmm.
I channel from the ground and turn? Or and turn and save Violet's life. Like if he dies and Sigil dies and
Yep.
Tarn, like they're all connected.
Yep.
And also like you don't really, even if they survive, like what is their fighting chance if the Sage General is alive? Like just in just so many ways, he had no choice. And in his dreams, like you see in the past that this Sage General had been telling him, like, you will turn for love. And that's exactly what he did, which was insane.
Poor
Cut to
Zayden.
like him going to Jack Barlow, who's still alive in a cell, and he's like, "What is the cure? Like, I need to know." And Jack's like, "There is none," and that's the
How it
end.
ends, yeah. Okay, are you ready for predictions?
Okay, go
Ready?
ahead.
Okay. So I think in the next book, I don't think there is a cure. I think Xaden will learn to have a heart, be envenomed, and then he's gonna run them all, and he's gonna be like their leader, and he's gonna like, I think it's gonna come to a point where like there's some that aren't bad, or he makes some of them good, or love will be the thing to cure him. Like it'll be something crazy like that. It'll be like he'll have to stay that, but he'll be like, it's kind of giving me like Walking Dead. You know how like there's some that are like really bad and evil, but then there's some that are like not as evil and kind of have a heart. I think he's going to be on that spectrum.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna, and I think that's a really good prediction because mine is similar. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if he's gonna actually like maybe lead or rule the venom per se, but I think
Mhm.
he's going to be in a position where he's strong enough to control it so he can use the part of him that's venom to almost become more powerful
Mhm.
but still be who he is inside.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think he'll ever fully turn evil, and I do think he'll have a few people that will be like him, like like they're Venom, but
Yeah.
they had no choice either, and or they don't agree with everything the Venoms want to do. So I think it'll be like the good, evil, and then they're going to be the in between.
And I really hope like something happens to Jack Barlow, but I think he's
I'm so
sticking
sick of
around.
Jack Barlow. Maybe if they kill another Venom, then they become good because you're killing your own kind.
That's actually not a bad one.
Because then we kill two birds. One cure, one dead.
That works for me. But it makes me sad because like I really want. I know this is definitely not happening, but I really want Violet and Zayden to have a kid.
Well, they might have a little hybrid baby running
Yeah, and I'm
around.
like,
You
what
never
is this
know.
gonna be? Renesmee, like a Twilight, like vampire
Yep.
hybrid? I don't need
It's gonna be king and queen or king or queen of something, but
that.
an heir. I don't know.
Something
Definitely gonna be.
crazy.
Or maybe it'll be like Twilight, where when she's giving birth, the venom kills her in the tummy. Oh no, she doesn't die. So she has to
No, she
turn
doesn't.
venom too. This is happening.
Stop. Too much. Too
They're
far.
gonna
Too
be venom
much.
king and queen.
But one thing is clear, this book is having a sequel, and I didn't know that. I didn't know if it would continue. Like, I didn't know
I
if
knew it
this
was
was
gonna
the
be like a
final
Harry
book.
Potter. I feel like it was gonna be like a Harry
Yeah.
Potter and have a lot of different.
I'm not surprised, but I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know if it was already known to the
Yeah,
public, but I didn't know. And then I was like, oh, so she's
yeah.
setting us up for another.
I mean, I think it was good, but I'm not itching. Like, I'm kind of happy the next book isn't out yet because it gives me time to like
Yeah,
do light
because we need
reads.
to like take a break.
Yeah, a break. Yeah, I'm Zayden and Violet it out,
Yes, and I think that for others, like they had read it and then had a break. Like this book
and
just
then
came out,
dived
we
in.
went
Yeah.
back to back. So it was a lot, and the books are long.
Hmm.
Should we just get into our ratings?
Ratings. Okay, you go first. I'm curious. 1 out of
So
5.
here's what I would say. So Fourth Wing, I rated a 5.
Mm-hmm.
And Iron Flame to me was not as good as
The
Fourth
original.
Wing. Did I
Mm-hmm.
love it? Yes. Because I loved the characters from Fourth Wing and I was still attached to them. I
Mm-hmm.
think what was better about the first one was there was a lot of like moments with the characters, like their interactions, they're building their relationships, like that you really like were invested in them. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt like this one was a little too much just like focus on war and scenes of fighting. And I don't mind that sometimes because it creates suspense and drama, but I think it leaned too much to the war side for me. Even if it was more like dragon specific stuff, I would have liked it more. But
Yeah.
just like the fighting, because at the end of the day, like, okay, this person will survive or this or that. Like, I don't need chapters on chapters of a battle. I just don't.
Yes, I agree.
So
So.
I would say I'll give this one, I guess, a 4. But even though I was thinking like maybe like a 3.8 or something,
Were
3.5.
you?
Yeah,
I'll
that's
get
how I
into it
feel.
too, but just so you know that we've rated the same, I rated it on Goodreads first and I gave it a 4.
You did?
Yeah, I gave it a 4 for
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So I agree with everything. I gave Fourth Wing a 5. This book for me, it wasn't one that I was just like after we read our few of our chapters, I wasn't like, oh, I need to keep reading or like I like putting it down was easy for me. Like it wasn't like I need to know the end kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
actually a good
what,
point.
yeah, so that's why. But overall, I think, the ending killed it. But I agree with you. There were some parts I was just like, okay, let's get to it. And I think I love I love the characters, love the storyline. Storyline's great. I cried both
Yeah.
books, so that kind of shows,
Mhm.
you know, she put a lot of feeling into it.
Mhm.
But yeah, 4 for sure, same thing. But I mean, I will read the next one. I need to know the ending. Like, I need to know how the series ends. But yeah, I'd say 4.
Okay, well, at least, I mean, we still enjoyed it. It was a good read.
Hmm.
I probably will check out the next one, but like you said, I need a break. I'm not anxious
Hmm.
to get, like, if it were out right now, I would still take a break from it.
Hmm.
So we'll see what happens. And I think I've heard, like, even the consensus across the board is it wasn't as good, and that's to be
Hmm.
expected
Hmm.
because you fall so in love with the first. For next week, we are going to have a little reading break because we have a special guest author on with us next week, and we are so excited. Her name is Jen Nash, and she wrote the book, The Big Power of Tiny Connections. This book is just unbelievable. It's short, it's a great read.
Easy. Or listen.
Yeah, listen to it, just like play it. I feel like it's just about like how the smallest interactions and putting yourself out there can like completely change the course of your life and like elevate you to where you want to go. And
Hmm.
I feel so inspired having read it. And she's just an electric personality.
Hmm.
She's so much fun. And I can't wait for this episode to drop next week for you guys to check out this interview with Jen.
Yes, and I would say definitely pick it up or even listen to it. I listened to it. It was easy, quick. And you get good nuggets out of it. Like some of it's, stuff that I'm just like, oh, I would have never thought to do that. Maybe I should do that. If you're
Yeah.
not someone that's very social, they give you like kind of like ways you can be. There's ways you can like if you work from home, leave the house. So I think it's a great read, an easy read for you guys.
Yes, so check that out next week. We'll put the link in the description below
Mhm.
for her book. You can also check it out on our social channels. Again, it's called The Big Power of Tiny Connections. Amanda, will you plug in our socials, honey?
If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe. We're also on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at Book Please Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter/X at Book Please Pod. And we also made a Facebook. If you can go like and follow us, we would appreciate that as well. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.